Am I the asshole for telling my husband he should have come see me in the hospital? My husband had just left for work and I was outside and ended up falling and breaking my ankle. It was very obviously broken and the first thing I thought to do was call my husband to come back. He came back within minutes and called an ambulance. When the ambulance took me, he said bye and to let him know any updates and he went to work. Him going to work at this point I understood as he has his own business and it's only him and another guy, plus it's a broken ankle, nothing worse. He texted me an hour later saying, "Call me when you get out, I'll pick you up," as if picking me up from work lol. I planned to keep him in the loop via text as much as I could, and I'll admit I was scared at one point because I didn't have pulses in my foot, so a bunch of people came into my room explaining they needed to reduce the fracture immediately. So they put me out while they did that. Thankfully a kind nurse held my hand until I was asleep lol. Once I was awake and back to baseline, I was in a hallway bed waiting for Ortha, who eventually came to me and said I'll need surgery that night. I asked him to bring me some things but they wouldn't let him in. He tried but ended up leaving. Once I was in a room, it was late-ish, but I told him visiting hours are 24/7, come whenever or tomorrow. BC, we haven't heard about when they were to do the surgery yet. He said okay, he'll stop by tomorrow but he has to go to the bank at 9:30, so he'll see when he can come pick me up. I never said anything about picking me up lol. Anyway, I said okay, I'll keep you updated. An hour later I text him I'm going into surgery. No answer. I text him when I'm awake after surgery. No answer. Boyfriend, it's 1 a.m. lol. However, I later learned he did not have his phone on ringer and the surgeon tried calling him, and he didn't pick up. Fast forward the next day, he eventually picks me up in the early afternoon, and I learn he ended up not going to the bank or anything. He never came to the hospital to see me all morning or afternoon, only came to pick me up. Anyway, a week later I told him I was upset about him not being there or having his phone on. What if something in the surgery happened and she needed to reach him? He was sorry but didn't know it was a big deal because no one came to see him when he was in the hospital, which was before we even met, like 15 years ago. I said that I'm his wife, he should have been there at some point for me. I was scared. I had to have surgery. Anyway, he seemed upset that I was so upset with him, which made me feel bad lol. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole, not at all. Surgery and anesthesia is always risky, especially if you're at the point where you're calling an ambulance for a broken ankle, or maybe you're just not American oop. He should have not only been there physically, but at the very least been a ring away as soon as he found out you would need it. And then to not follow up at all? Until 12 hours after? You're completely valid in feeling like he wasn't there for you. Hell, show him what I said, or put him in contact with me. I'll lay into him for you. Completely drop the ball as a spouse. You are not the asshole. Do not feel bad. He really let you down. From your description, it sounds like he considered your trip to the nothing more than another errand. The initial injury didn't seem serious, but once it did become more of an issue, and you had to stay overnight, a sign things are more serious. He should have been more attentive. And yet he makes you feel bad? I'm sorry, but you have a rotten husband. Not the asshole. I understand at first your injury did not present as something serious, but the minute surgery was involved he should have been by your side. His reasoning for not doing it is also wrong, because you asked him to come, so there's that. Who cares what happened to him 15 years ago? You asked him to visit you during a difficult time at the hospital and he didn't. The phone being on silent mode is the cherry on top. Unreal. Has he no concern for your safety? Any kind of surgery that requires anesthesia is no joke. Let's hope it's a lesson learnt and he will be more attentive in the future, but make sure you talk to him about this, not caress his hurt ego. He was in the wrong here and should apologize and promise to do better in the future. Not the asshole. When my mom collapsed in Vegas and had to be taken to the hospital, my dad and I hopped in a car and drove over 5 hours at 100+ mph to get to her. We made it to the hospital as she was being discharged. Luckily it was just low potassium mixed with too much alcohol and not enough food. We took her back to her hotel, spent the night, and then my dad drove his car back home and I drove mom in her car back home. Your husband has zero excuse for not being there for you when you had to undergo surgery, let alone having his phone off, silenced so the surgeon and medical staff couldn't even contact him about your condition. That's absolutely ridiculous. I'm so sorry this happened to you. Now I'm jaded, so take this with a grain of salt. But I don't buy the ringer off on his phone thing. He has his own business but has his phone off. No. Wife in the hospital. No. He has to go to work anyway. No. It's a bullsh-t. I'm sorry, Op. He's gaslighted you. Hubby's up to no good. And you're too scared and in pain to see it. Good luck to you. Not the asshole. You cannot depend on this man. He is not acting like he loves or even cares about you. I'm confused by this part of the story. I asked him to bring me some things but they wouldn't let him in. He tried but ended up leaving. Did he actually come to the hospital? Did he just lie? Even if they refused him entry, surely they would have taken the bag with the things you needed? Am I the asshole for telling my dad he made his own mess and I'm not helping him with it? My dad is a fucked up mess. He and my mom were together for 7 years, high school sweethearts and everything, when mom found out she was pregnant with me. He says he freaked out and cheated on her because he was scared of being a father. But he regretted it after the 3rd time of sleeping with this other woman and thought he could leave it behind. He proposed to my mom and she accepted. Then when mom was 7 months pregnant with me, the other woman showed up and said dad got her pregnant. My mom called off the engagement. From that mess, dad has me, 18 male, and Stacy, 17 female. The other woman wanted a relationship with dad but he said he only ever loved and wanted my mom. She was a mistake. Baby was a mistake. Mom didn't want him back. Dad ended up with 50-50 custody of me and Stacy. Her mom tried for maybe 2 years it sounds like to get back with dad. Even told my mom she was selfish for keeping dad from her. Then she gave up. Dad pined for mom for years and tried to win her back. It pissed Stacy off. Stacy was already pissed because her mom told her dad chose mom over them and me and mom over them. So she had a chip on her shoulder with me and my mom. When she was WAAAAY too young to be saying crap, she was calling my mom degrading insults. My dad would get so mad when Stacy talked to mom that way and dad would tell mom he was sorry. He'd make it work, please, he only ever loved her, etc. This was going on when I was old enough to remember witnessing this pathetic mess. I was 11 when dad moved on and finally let mom go. He met a woman, married her and had Georgie, 6, with her. Stacy was furious that dad fell in love with someone else other than her mom. That instead of falling in love with her mom, again, he found someone after he let go of mom. After 11 years. So Stacy hates Georgie and she treats her like shit. Dad's wife died when Georgie was only 3 and Stacy has said some really twisted shit about her to Georgie. Also to me because I got along okay with my dad's late wife. I have mostly noped out of it all now. But I answer occasional calls from dad. He said he wanted to get the family together when we talked yesterday and that he wants us to be close. He needs my help. That we can't continue with the toxic mess. I told him he made his own mess and I'm not helping him with it. That he needs to take accountability and stop making it worse. Dad told me I should care about my sisters and how we'll never be close if this continues. I told him it was not my fault. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. It sounds like your dad and Stacy and maybe Stacy's mom, hey, need counseling or something. He shouldn't be expecting your help. I almost wanted to say no one's an asshole but his guilt tripping you is what tips it over the line. Dicks are dangerous tools when placed in the wrong hands. Well, women, in this case. Ba dum tss. Pardon the poorly timed joke, so not the asshole. Not the asshole, op. I imagine you'll do well in life having had the blueprint of everything not to do so brilliantly laid out by your pops. I hope Stacy finds healing in her adult life along with her mom, who does not have it going on, and that your dad does right by Georgie. What a painful messy life he has led thus far. The other woman wanted a relationship with dad but he said he only ever loved and wanted my mom. So Stacy's mom didn't have it going on. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. How is a barely 18-yo boy going to be able to address his 17-yo's half-sister's misogyny and cruelty to a small child? Stacy is abusive. I'm not sure if closeness will ever be on the table with her. The best he can work towards is basic human decency. But it has to come from Stacy forcing you all into proximity as the solution is still making other people responsible for her behavior. I get that to some degree your dad is responsible for this mess, but at some point Stacy is also responsible for her behavior. She's a teenager about to be an adult treating a 6-year-old like shit. I am really worried for Georgie. Your dad can encourage and support that sibling relationship, if you're open, without Stacy. Yep, your dad created one steaming crap heap of a mess and it's not your issue to resolve. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You have a shot of having a nice relationship with Georgie if you're interested, but Stacy? I'd give up on. That's Dad's problem. Am I the asshole for asking my husband not to poop in the main bathroom? We have 3 bathrooms in our house. One is right outside the main living space, the other is in our bedroom, and then we have a half bath in the utility hall. My husband almost always poops after dinner when the house is active, and without fail, he does it in the main bathroom. Not only can I sometimes hear him pooping, but it's the only bathroom with an actual bathtub, and we give the kids baths after dinner. I don't want to listen to my husband poop and then do baths in a stinky poop-smelling bathroom when there are literally 2 other bathrooms he can use. When we moved in together into the house, we put the poop stool from his house in the utility bathroom and dubbed it the poop bathroom. Now he just uses the kids' footstool. I have asked him countless times to quit pooping in the main bathroom. He thinks I am being ridiculous and that he should be able to use whatever bathroom he wants, and said it's not that big of a deal. I think pooping in the bathroom in the main living area is rude, especially right before bedtime. Like, who wants to brush their teeth in a poopy, smelly bathroom? Am I the asshole for continuing to bring this up and asking him to use one of the other 2 bathrooms? Edit to add a public service for those asking about poop stools, LMAO. Here's a link explaining poop stools. Pics included. Tears of joy, tears of joy. Edit number 2, holy smokes. There's a lot of comments. I'll try to clarify some things because I'm seeing a lot of the same questions pop up. 1. There's no window to help air it out. We have an exhaust fan on a 60-minute timer, but it doesn't work well, and yes, the smell really does linger for quite a long time. My toddler goes straight in the tub after dinner. 2. I can't use scented options like candles or spray because my oldest son is extremely sensitive to them. 3. No, my poop does not smell like roses. Yes, I go in the utility bathroom. Unless I'm home alone with my toddler. He's not allowed in the utility area. I have never heard of poopery. I probably did not spell that right. I'll definitely check it out though. Thanks to everyone for that suggestion. If he knows he's going to shit after dinner every time? Yeah. Plan an extra 3 seconds to walk upstairs and use that bathroom. It cannot be such a big emergency every time that he has to use the main bathroom. I have literally gone and used the other shower in my house instead of my own because I don't want to smell my own shit when I take a shower after my morning poops. Once should be all you have to ask. Is there any reason why he can't be courteous to those living in the same household and not force everyone to feel clean in the same room their dad just took a smelling steamy shit in? Not the asshole. If this is an everyday occurrence, there's no reason he can't hold his cheeks closed for 2 extra seconds to go to a different bathroom unless he has a bowel issue. He's being stubborn. It's a power play. It's rude and gross. And you've asked him multiple times not to use that bathroom. He keeps doing it. He's trying to show you that he's in charge by literally marking his territory. You didn't answer the real important question. Which bathroom has the poop knife? Not the asshole if you're doing bath time straight after. Of course he can use any bathroom he wants, but basic courtesy when you live with other people is not to poop where they will hear and smell it if there's another option. Assuming both other toilets are fully functional and clean, etc., then I don't see why he wouldn't just use one of these. What kind of man wants to bath his kids in a room where he just taken a shit if there's another option? Sounds like a weird kind of control or wanting to mark his territory to me. Not the asshole. My partner and I will always use the secondary bathroom for pooping if we know someone is going to be in the main bathroom, especially mornings when the whole family needs to brush their teeth and get ready, and evenings when we are getting them ready for bed. It's called being considerate, and it's a reasonable request when there are perfectly good other bathrooms he can stink up. Not the asshole. Bath time is a predictable daily event. At least he could be considerate and use another bathroom right before bath time. Or sit in his own shit smell and do bath time himself. Am I the asshole for refusing to host family gatherings because I'm tired of always being the one responsible?
My partner and I bought our first home. We don't have children and we don't plan to, and we both earn well.
Our home has 3 bedrooms and is huge. We have a massive kitchen and living room area, and the backyard is massive too. I used to bartend, so naturally as soon as my partner and I bought our home I suggested we host Thanksgiving last year. While I enjoyed hosting, it's become a significant burden, both financially and time-wise. Since we are dinks, it seems the expectation is we host. For the past year, we've been the one hosting all family gatherings. After Thanksgiving we hosted Christmas and my mom's birthday. We had to hire cleaners after all 3 events and only a few family members chipped in. I recently told my family that I won't be hosting anymore and suggested that we rotate responsibilities or meet at a restaurant instead, since they want us to host Thanksgiving again. Some family members are upset because we are having to split over multiple houses, and some family live out of state, but given where we live it was easy for everyone to meet. I feel like it's time for others to share the load, but now I'm being seen as the difficult one. Am I the asshole for refusing to host? Not the asshole. What in the world are these guests doing to your poor home that you need to hire _cleaners afterwards? Are people at least bringing dishes with them, or expecting you to cater everything, too? Not the asshole. Go on a cruise over the holidays.
That's what my wife and I do. Not the asshole rotating to everyone's house is normal. What?
I mean, I've been to some family gatherings where it's always sort of the head of the family that hosts, but they're the oldest and have the most money and just rent out a place for everyone on their own free will.
If you don't want to host a party, you don't have to host a party, it's your house.
I mean, I wouldn't expect to never ever host again, but yeah, there's nothing wrong with sharing, or like you said, going out to a restaurant or other public venue.
Not the asshole, but
would it work to be the host but require others to contribute? You have the room but shouldn't have to do it all.
Maybe you handle the main course, since that usually requires a long baking time and is hard go lug to and from a car, and all other dishes, drinks, etc. are potluck brought by the guests, depending on what is possible. Out-of-towners get to choose wine, beer, pop, paper products, packaged foods. Locals do the mashed potatoes, mac and cheese, casseroles, etc.
Every family unit has to provide someone to help the cleanup through dishwashing and vacuuming, and whoever does not do that wrangles kids.
That's why you never overstay your welcome and always be the best guests.
I can't imagine hiring a cleaner for after a family party. Not the asshole. This is exactly why I stopped hosting. I have 2 kids, one is 2, the other 7. I have no help and no one is willing to help.
They all come to my house, eat, drink, and leave.